Is this the gentleman?
Yeah.
Sir, just so you know, this side, we oppose to being depicted regarding your recordings or anything that you have that would record this process.
This is a public meeting.
I understand.
And there is no expectation of privacy in public, so I'm filming.
Okay, just so you know, we are objecting to your...
Yeah, sure, no problem.
And just so you know, sir, I'll continue to object to being filmed. And the last proceedings that we had, somebody filmed me even after I asked them not to. So I object to it, all right?
Very good.
Okay, anything else? Now, before we go on the record, the other thing you have to understand too is that the only official record of this particular proceeding, and I'll say this for the record, is the one that's being taken by the certified tape monitor. Understood? Everybody understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, what we do is we can go on the record.
On the record.
This is a personnel board case. It's in the matter of Rito Flores. The case number is PB 11-02. My name is Pat Bingham. I'm the hearing officer. Would the parties make their appearances, please?
This is Marie LeGrand Miller on behalf of the city of Albuquerque, and I have two other people here with me who I'll have asked to just identify themselves as well.
My name is Lieutenant McKay, Wilson McKay, for the city of Albuquerque.
And,
Kelly Garcia on behalf of the city of Albuquerque.
okay, and for the grievance?
Rocky Gutierrez, Aspen Council 18 representative. With me is Mr. Rito Flores.
I was requested to invoke the rule. The rule is that those individuals who are testifying shall not be present during the testimony of others until they've testified. And those people who are testifying shall not be present during the open statement. Now, as I understand, we have an agreement in terms of foundation, et cetera, for several exhibits that are in the exhibit package. So exhibit 1 through 12 is in the evidence, and exhibit 26 and 27 is into evidence.
Yes.
Okay. So with that being said, let's have an opening statement. Those people testifying that are not parties may go outside and hang out for a little while. Do we have anybody along that line?
No, I don't see anyone from the city that would be a
Is there
city
anybody out there
witness.
testify? There's nobody out there?
The city's first witness will be the telephonic witness, so
All right.
that would make
Okay.
sense to me that we wouldn't have anyone outside yet. But.
Okay, make an opening statement, ma'am.
Okay, this is a case involving Mr. Rito Flores and an incident that occurred on July 22nd in 2010. On that date, Mr. Flores went to the downtown Presbyterian emergency room and made contact with a physician's assistant named Jeremy Milligan. Mr. Flores went to the emergency room and advised physician's assistant Milligan that he had run out of pain medication and that his doctor was out of town and he was seeking a refill of his pain prescription. Physician's assistant Milligan did not wish to refill the prescription, and at some point during this exchange in the emergency room, Mr. Flores told physician's assistant Milligan that he chased criminals and he was on light duty because of this, and effectively intimated that he was a member of the Albuquerque Police Department. Physician's assistant Milligan was suspicious about this and did call the APD and verified that Mr. Flores was not an officer with the Albuquerque Police Department. But it was verified eventually that Mr. Flores is actually an animal welfare officer for the city of Albuquerque. Mr. Flores was reported by Mr. Milligan to be very agitated and upset that the physician's assistant would not refill his pain prescription. A police report was eventually taken of this event, and the city proceeded with did proceed with disciplinary proceedings in relation to this event. However, there are also other incidents that occurred around this time. The city will have witnesses testify regarding another disciplinary incident that occurred subsequent to the emergency room incident, and several other pertinent, relevant prior disciplinary incidents that occurred all of which go to the fact that Mr. Flores has on repeated occasions violated multiple city policies, rules, and regulations. Mr. Flores was ultimately terminated because of the incident involving the emergency room and the physician's assistant, his misrepresentation of who he was and what he did. But the reason for that, the decision to terminate Mr. Flores went to, again, other incidents that occurred prior and subsequent to this incident. Mr. Flores did have a Loudermill hearing. He was given an opportunity to present his side of the story. Subsequent to that, he was terminated. The reason that this hearing did not occur for such a long period of time had to do with an appeal that was occurring in regarding another disciplinary incident. That appeal was finally resolved in the district court here in the 2nd Judicial District just a few months ago. So after the city has presented its witnesses, we will come back and ask that you uphold the termination of Mr. Flores. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes, sir. Mr. Rito Flores denies the allegation alleged by the city of Albuquerque that on July 22nd, 2010, that he presented himself as an APD officer. The record will show, even though there was an APD investigation, that APD concluded that Mr. Flores did not represent himself as an APD officer or present any ID to trick anybody to believe that he was an APD officer. That was the conclusion of APD in their synopsis. Mr. Flores also denies stating to Mr. Milligan that he was APD, but insisted he was AWD, Animal Welfare Department. Now, Mr. Flores had had an operation 4 days before for a work-related injury. He had fallen, and the doctors had informed him if he had injured himself because of this operation, he was to report back to the hospital to make sure everything was okay. Mr. Flores did not remember that it was actually the operation and the procedure was actually farmed out to UNM. He reported to Presbyterian for the medical care, and they could not find him in the system. Mr. Flores represented himself as a city employee, gave him his ID, animal welfare ID, and a business card indicating he was from animal welfare. There was a letter from Mr. Milligan, which later he said there was a misunderstanding. I thought he said APD, but apparently it was always AWD, and the police report confirmed this. The city of Albuquerque failed to do its own investigation to determine what Mr. Flores said. They went by the APD report, which also, as I stated before, does not conclude that he represented himself as an APD officer. Therefore, APD could not follow through with any criminal complaint or charges against him as well. Because of this alone, we do not believe that the city had just cause to terminate Mr. Flores. Also, in the event of progressive discipline, the city used progressive discipline out of order. They used discipline from an event that happened after the fact in order to terminate Mr. Flores. So because of all this, we do not believe that the city of Albuquerque had just cause to discipline Mr. Flores. We ask that you reverse the discipline, reinstate Mr. Flores with all back pay and any benefits that he may have lost out through his termination. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Call your first witness, City.
Yes, the city will call Mr. Jeremy Milligan, who should be standing by right now in Arizona, waiting on a phone call. He does have a local number, however. And whenever you're ready, I'll go ahead and give you the number.
Are you to make the call?
I was gonna dial.
Oh, go ahead, you dial.
Or actually, I'm wondering if it would be proper, just because of the situation we have, that this hearing is being recorded by an outside party, if I might write down the phone number and we could enter it into the record another way for
That's good.
Mr. Milligan's.
That's fine.
I have the number.
Yes, that's right. You do. Do you not, Ms. Katie? Thank you.
Hi, Jeremy. The We are in the hearing. I'm about to put you on speakerphone and all of the parties are here. One moment, okay? Thank you. Mr. Milligan?
Hello?
Alrighty.
Mr. Milligan, this is Pat Bingham. I'm a hearing officer assigned to hear this case.
Okay.
Would you raise your right hand, sir?
Yes.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Proceed. The city will start its examination. Can you hear everybody okay so far?
I can. Let me just shut my door real quick. I'll get back.
All right.
Okay, thank you. I just didn't want my dog to come in here and start barking.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Milligan, can you hear me? This is Marie LeGrand Miller, the attorney you've spoken with previously.
Yes.
Can you hear me well, or am I coming in faint?
I can hear you well. I mean, it's obvious it's in a speakerphone, but I mean, I can hear you clearly.
Okay. So I presume it's okay if I call you Jeremy today in this hearing?
Yes, yes.
All right, Jeremy, do you have any paper in front of you, anything that the city provided to you in order to help you prepare?
I have a dictation that I dictated on, looks like 7/22/2010, and this is a phone dictation, and then I also have a uniform incident report. I believe it's from, I think it's from the detective that had come, I was residing in Albuquerque at the time. I think it's their report.
Okay, I'm gonna just ask, Jeremy, hang on a second, please. If everyone in the room here could turn to tab 3 in the city's exhibit book, please. So, are you there, Rocky? Are you okay?
Yes, I'm
Okay.
okay. Go ahead, please. Thank you.
Okay. So, Jeremy, could you tell us all what you do, what your profession is, please?
I'm a physician assistant in emergency medicine, and I've been doing that since 2007.
Oh, okay, and you're in Tucson, correct?
I am. I'm in Tucson now. My wife, she's a physician, just graduated medical school. She's in residency here at the University of Arizona for emergency medicine as well.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
And where are you originally from, Jeremy?
Bozeman, Montana. Well, I was born in Bozeman, Montana, but originally Carlsbad, New Mexico is where I grew up.
Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and ask you we're going to turn our discussion to July of 2010. Can you tell us where you were working in July of 2010, please?
On July 2010, Procedural Emergency Department, but I worked at all 3 locations, downtown, Rio Rancho, and Caseman.
And were you working in the Presbyterian emergency room on July 22nd of 2010?
I was, yes.
And do you recall your interaction with a man named Rito Flores?
I didn't recall the name, but I recall the interaction that we had. I believe he was in room 7.
Okay. Can you tell us all in your own words, I know, we have your dictation in front of us here in the room, but could you tell us all in your own words, fill in sort of what happened that day, please?
Basically, I don't recall exactly what ailment or what was causing Mr. Rito to see me. I think it was knee pain or wrist pain or something. And the thing is, in the emergency department, as you know, they get so overrun with non-life-threatening emergencies that we've had to develop ways to decrease the load and try to help get folks to family doctors and urgent care. So I do remember that when speaking with Mr. Rito, again, I can't remember exactly what the ailment was, but I believe that there was a request for some pain meds or something.
Well, let me just ask you this, Jeremy. You're allowed to look at your own dictation, which we all have in front of us here. So
right.
this isn't a
I have it
memory
right here.
game. So let me just tell you that right now.
Okay, I'll just read that. So I made a dictation because I knew that after the encounter, it just seems kind of, I needed to kind of make a different record versus just a paper record. So the patient at this time, he stated that he is an Albuquerque Police Department officer, and when I asked him about his job, he was very adamant that he served his duty and chased criminals.
Let me just stop you there. Okay. So let me just ask you this, Jeremy, because basically, is this dictation, when you're looking at it, does it appear to be correct?
Yes, it does appear to be correct.
Does it appear to be, when you refresh your memory with it, does it appear to be a correct, your dictation of what you dictated back in 2010?
Yes.
Okay. When you wrote served his duty, again, you're allowed to use this paper as a memory refresher. I just want to stress that, okay? Like, there's nothing wrong with that. We all have it in front of us. This is going to be something that's given the weight it's due, is the phrase. Okay? Does that make sense? We're all looking at this piece of paper right now.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and it's not like regular court, so to speak. But
okay.
when you said served his duty, what do you think you meant when you dictated that?
Before you answer, I'm going to object to that question. I don't think you can answer to what Mr. Rito was thinking at the time he made that statement.
Sustained.
I'm sorry, let me rephrase. Jeremy, do you recall Mr. Flores saying that? Is that why you wrote that or dictated that?
Yes, and he used the word sworn officer several times.
Okay. Did you... Go ahead, sorry.
And I think that's how I just worded it on this document. Served his duty as a police officer.
Okay, so then you also dictated that you called the Albuquerque Police Department. Is that correct?
It is that I also called the sheriffs because I just called the dispatch or somebody. It wasn't the 911 number.
Sure.
And they just ran, and I just asked them, and they ran the name and says, no, but why don't you try Bernalillo? And I remember calling them and they said no either, and that was it. And then, I'll just wait to the next question, I guess.
Okay.
That's all I recall it very clearly because it was a huge kind of issue, and it just kind of stuck in my mind.
Why did you feel this was a huge issue?
Well, I'm a prior military guy. I was Navy corpsman in the Marine Corps, and prior to deciding to go to the medicine route, I respected the uniform, wanted to be an officer myself, and so I just look up to the guys. I mean, I usually strike a conversation. I see they come in ER all the time, either as a patient or even just as bringing patients in. And it just struck me because I felt that Mr. Rito didn't have that character, or that it didn't fit what he was telling me. It didn't fit, and didn't make, so that's why I took it a little further and called the dispatch to ask them to confirm. I asked them who the sergeant was. I remember that.
Okay.
And
why were you concerned if somebody was pretending to be a police officer? Why did that concern you?
So I really feel that this is just speaking off me. I mean, I think there's a difference between someone pulling over people acting like they're a police officer versus, I think, because he wasn't wearing a uniform, he wasn't, punching a badge or anything. So I think there is a difference, but it means a lot to me because I don't need extra sway or leeway to direct me at how to treat a patient, or if I'm going to give them a medicine, or if it would change the tone. You know, some folks come in and they know that I'm pre-military or something, and then they try to maybe use that as leverage to get me to sway a certain way. I just don't appreciate that very much when there's a big issue on that trying to sway me to go a different direction in my treatment or something.
Okay.
If that makes sense,
So, is it your testimony today that Mr. Flores was trying to make you think that he was...
Objection, leading.
Overruled.
This is sort of a concluding direct question, so. Jeremy, is it your testimony today that you thought Mr. Flores was saying he was a police officer, an Albuquerque police officer?
Objection, leading.
Overruled. You may answer, sir.
yes, I did feel that way.
Okay, thank you, nothing further. Now, the other side's gonna ask you some questions.
Cross.
Yes, sir. Mr. Milligan, how are you, sir?
Thank you, I'm fine.
Good. My name is Rocky Gutierrez. I'm representing Mr. Flores in this proceedings, okay?
Okay.
I just have a couple questions for you as well. Were you interviewed by the city of Albuquerque regarding the events that occurred on July 22nd, 2010?
I believe so. They introduced themselves as detectives.
Who were the detectives? Do you recall?
I don't recall the name, but on the report here, it says Darcy Hoffman and John Sullivan. It was two people. There was a female and a male. Remember that?
Okay. And besides the two officers from APD, were you contacted by anyone else within the city of Albuquerque?
No, I was not.
So the official statement and report was only made by APD regarding the events as you know it?
As I know it, I didn't even, when I found out that he was not on the roster, or, you know, the APD or whatever, I let it go. I was shocked, you know, that a couple months later, I had detectives at my door. So I didn't, you know, I guess someone reported it or something.
Okay. Because it says in your addendum report, and I believe you have a copy of it in front of you?
Yes, sir.
That you only called them because you thought the patient had told you he was with APD?
Can you just read this again?
It's towards the bottom of your statement.
So just to state the record that I would only have called the APD if I thought that it was what the patient had told. That is what I think, as you can tell. I mean, this doesn't. The sentence is not. But I would have only called the APD if I thought that this is what the patient had told me. Basically, what I'm saying there is, there was no. I would not have called if I didn't feel that he was telling me this, and I felt that he wasn't at all. I mean, there was just wasting my with me, and I was just going to be wasting my time.
I understand. So the only reason why you were calling, though, was to inquire if Mr. Flores was an APD officer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So you didn't make a complaint that he was impersonating an officer. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And it says here, a couple lines above where we just read, that he had showed you an ID. Do you recall him showing you an ID?
I do. This was after the encounter, and he was visiting with what we call a navigator, and so and the navigators really go to when folks don't have emergency situations, they try to direct them to the family doctor at urgent care, and that's what he showed me. Like a laminated ID card or something.
Okay. And did it identify Mr. Flores as a City of Albuquerque employee?
I didn't look to the fine details. I just remember it said something about codes or animal welfare or something like that. That's all it's on the very top. Like it just was kind of, I didn't read to see the name. I can't. All I know is that it had something of that nature of
Okay.
codes or some kind of animal control or something like that.
Okay, so when he was trying to identify himself to you, he actually gave you identification of an animal welfare department employee, correct?
Well,
Is that correct?
it's not correct in the form he was, because prior to no identification, and I asked him, and I believe a couple times I used the words APD, and then I specifically remember I used Albuquerque Police Department to be clarified. And he said, and he kept saying I'm a sworn officer, and then when all that was done, the navigator, I said, you know, I called, and you're not even on the roster. And he said, I'm a sworn officer. And then he showed me that's what he showed me, that identification card.
Okay, sir, so just so I understand, because and I don't know how many exhibits you have of the cities. Does he have an entire book or just a
No.
couple that you identified to him?
Mr. Bingham, if I may, just to clarify for the
Go ahead.
record, this witness has, to my knowledge, all that the city sent him was a copy of his dictation and also the uniform incident report, the police report.
Okay.
To my knowledge, that's, and certainly Mr. Milligan can fill in, but that's all we sent him to prepare for the hearing.
Okay.
This is all I've got is this confidential, Presbyterian confidential dictation and this police report.
Okay. I know you can't look at this right now because the city, in their final action to terminate Mr. Flores, says that,
Objection, relevance?
I believe he had said
Let him ask a
that.
question. Ask a question.
Okay. It says, when Mr. Milligan asked you if you were in Albuquerque Police Department, you responded in the affirmative. So, and I just heard you say a couple times that you were asking Mr. Flores if he was APD. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and you said his response was, I'm a sworn officer.
Yes,
Okay. Are you aware that Animal Welfare Department control officers are sworn officers? Are you aware of that?
I am not aware.
Okay. When Mr. Flores entered into Presbyterian, was he in a wheelchair?
I can't recall. I doubtful because people in wheelchairs shouldn't be coming to the area that I'm in, but I cannot honestly say if he was in a wheelchair or not.
Okay. Do you recall him being accompanied by a younger woman pushing the wheelchair?
No, there was no other person in the room with him.
Okay. Then, to your knowledge, you testified you were surprised that APD contacted you later because they were doing an investigation of this incident, alleged incident, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember how many IDs that Mr. Flores showed regarding his identification?
Just one?
Did he also give a business card of some sort?
No.
Okay. You said he gave it to you or he gave it to someone else?
No, he didn't give it to me. He still had it in between his thumb and then, he just kind of flashed it. He was pretty upset. He said, I'm a sworn officer, and he put his so if you're sitting down and you have like a car or something, I guess you could call the business, but I think it was laminated, but he just, flashed it when he was in the navigating office.
Okay, and I know since you had brought it up, you can't see it. We have the actual identification card here. If I show it to the attorney, I don't know if you want to take a picture and text it to him or identify if this is what he looked at.
Does it have?
I'd like to,
Does it have
if I
a,
may, I'm sorry, Mr. Bingham, if I may sort of address these issues in turn, please.
Go ahead.
Mr. Gutierrez, are you offering Mr. Flores' former identification card into evidence in this matter?
I am. I was hoping he'd be able to identify it so I could put it in. Obviously, he's not here, but I believe you testified that the identification, Mr. Mulligan.
Did you have anything further?
Oh, sorry.
I did actually.
You
I'd
want me
like
to
to
clear
address just the issue first. So are you going to offer that or a copy of that card into evidence at this time? for the
Yeah, I'd
hearing?
have to make copies of it, but I would because I believe this is the identification card Mr. Mulligan is referring to that identifies Mr. Flores, and it says animal welfare at the bottom of the card itself.
Let's take a break and take a couple of copies of this if we can.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna run outside and put my little placard on, okay?
Thank you very much, Mr. Davis.
It'll take 10.
Jeremy, if you can just, are we going to have just Jeremy stand by, or should we have to hold him back?
No, I can stand by.
I'm sorry, are you okay there for a couple minutes?
Oh, yeah, I made sure I had plenty of time.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, yes, sir.
So are we going to leave, should we leave Jeremy on the phone, or should we call him back?
No, I can wait on the phone or whatever you want, whatever's best for you.
Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and just mute you. If for some reason, Jeremy, we lose you, we'll just call you back, but we're not finished with you today. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
But understand, Mr. Milligan, just because you're muted on this side, you can't hear us, but we can hear you, okay? So
Oh, okay.
you'd probably be
That's good advice.
wise not to say anything. Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Or if you're talking to your dog, we'll hear it, so just be aware.
Oh. Yeah, I shut the door usually.
I'm going to have Miss King go ahead and do that. Okay. Okay. Goodness, I'm so glad you're here because you know these phones. And just cause.
It's like stone cold by now.
Yeah, some swamp camera, nothing we're doing with this table, exactly. This is the least at all. In fact, basically, why don't we go ahead and just, because it's going to be a couple minutes, why don't we go ahead and step out now for a minute? Alrighty, come on out. We're staying. God, representing murderers with less media attention. Yes? I hope you got that. What?
Well, whatever.
Oh, sure. And actually, yeah, do you mind staying here for a minute? Sure. Can I just hang for a minute? Cool, thank you. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, just lovely. Now we're on film. Hi, good morning. I can't wear shoes.
I just thought that was so exciting because we have like the first heels I've worn in like 7 years. I'm too old, I can't do it anymore. When I was like, it was all those, I used to wear heels and go to Vegas, and, you know, when I was like 21, I can't do it anymore.
I can do this. Yeah. So,
And I think those are high.
anyway, that's what I'm doing now. He's on the tweet right now. And making comments.
Let's step outside.
I'm here. I'm all here.
Starting taping everything now.
Yeah. We're not that exciting. I did this for 8 years. I swear it's not.
Well, the outcome of the meeting might be exciting.
This is true. But you guys been coming to all of them. Why is that?
Well, because they're public meetings and,
Well, no,
we
I'm not
are-
arguing.
Yeah.
I'm just asking, like, really, like,
I personally feel it's really, really dangerous to tell people that they can't bring cameras to public meetings, which is what happened, as I understand it, at the last couple. If we allow that precedent to go forward, that anyone who doesn't want to be filmed can just ignore the Open Meetings Act, that's going to be pretty bad for the future of our state, I think.
what is it that you guys are trying to do, though? Like, why, like, what's the, like, why? Like, why everyone? Like, what's, do you know what I'm saying?
I'm just here because I know the last couple have been shut down. So I thought that might happen again today, and I was planning to film that. Honestly, I'm not personally that interested in this particular hearing. Since it's, I'm probably not gonna stick around for the rest of it, since it's now been established that we are allowed to film it. I think it's more just the principle of the thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, no one actually, I guess, no one really comes and films either.
Yeah, but I know there was.
First time for everything.
Well, I don't think that it hasn't happened. Like I said, I used to monitor for 7 years before I came to this site, so. It happens, but it's kind of rare. That's why I was asking, like, what's your interest in it? Because normal people usually don't care about the outcome. Makes sense. You want me to grab the city?
Yeah. We're just waiting for Stephanie.
Oh, that's right.
on the record.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Gutierrez. Are you there, Mr. Milligan?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Milligan, I know you can't see what we're doing here, but I'm going to pass around some pictures that we just, photocopies of
Okay.
what we just took of Mr. Flores's City of Albuquerque ID. Later. And I guess I'm going to authenticate this as best I can without him seeing it.
Sure.
Do we need to do that, Mr. Hearing Officer?
Well, it's going to be an exhibit, so you have to lay a foundation for what the exhibit is.
Okay. Now, Mr. Milligan, you had stated earlier that Mr. Flores did show you an ID, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and that the ID did have some verbiage on there regarding animal welfare. Is that correct?
Something to that, yes, yes.
Do you recall it also having a picture of Mr. Flores on the ID?
I don't recall.
Okay. Was it some kind of pin, lapel, or something that could have been attached to a coat or a uniform? Was it that sort of ID?
No, I don't think so. No.
Okay, did it identify animal welfare and did it have Mr. Flores' name on it?
I know it had something to do with animal something, but I don't know if it had his name on it or not.
Pardon me? What was the last part?
I don't know. I don't think it had. I can't recall if it had his name on it or not because it wasn't something I grabbed from, or it wasn't something I grabbed from the scene and looked at it. It just flashed it kind of in front of me while he was sitting down. I was standing up.
Okay. You, in your report, I'm looking at what you have here for your addendum report.
Okay.
You say that he showed me an ID, though, however, he is with animal control.
Correct. And that's I wrote that because I saw something with animal control or something with animal something.
Okay, so did the
Correct.
Okay, sir. So did the ID satisfy that Mr. Flores was with animal control?
Yes.
Okay. I would like to admit this into evidence as far as the ID. This is the only ID submitted to City of Albuquerque animal control officers that could have been shown, which is, which I believe was identified by Mr. Milligan.
City?
I do object. I don't think that actually Mr. Milligan has adequately identified that this is the ID he was shown. He has testified that he was shown an ID and that the ID he was shown appeared to verify that Mr. Flores did work for animal welfare, animal control. But I don't think that Mr. Milligan's provided enough information to say that this was the ID he was shown. So on that basis, I'll object.
Just stay.
Okay. Would you like me to hold on to these and present them to a witness later?
Yes.
Go ahead and give me those copies, please. You'll hold on to that one, sir?
I turned it over.
Okay, that's fine.
Just tell me when I'm supposed to turn it over.
Okay. And no further questions. Thank you, Mr. Milligan.
Hey, redirect.
Thank you.
No redirect.
Thank you very much for appearing here today. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, another witness?
Yes, the city will call Lieutenant John Sullivan of the Albuquerque Police Department.
Okay. Well, I guess you're stuck over here.
Over here.
Yeah, so.
Give me a chair, I'll sit in.
There you go. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear affirm to tell the truth. Go ahead.
All right, Lieutenant Sullivan, how are you today?
I'm fine, how are you?
Good, thank you. I am going to ask you to go ahead and open that binder that you have in front of you, please. And go ahead and turn to tab 2, please. You have that in front of you?
I do.
All right, thank you. Could you go ahead and tell us what you know about this document? It's actually a couple pages, I believe, several pages.
This is a Albuquerque Police Department report that was filed by a detective who worked for me at the time named Darcy Hoffman.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit more about, just to sort of segue here a little bit, your training and experience as an officer and with the Albuquerque Police Department, please?
Okay.
In brief.
Okay, I don't want to. A little over 16 years. I'm currently a lieutenant. I work in the Special Investigations Division right now. At the time of this report, I was a sergeant in the burglary unit. I've spent 10 of my 16 years either in investigations as an officer, supervisor, and now a lieutenant. So my background is very strong in the investigative bureau of the department.
Okay. And can you tell us a little bit more about your role in this report?
In this specific report, I was the supervising officer, so I approved the report, I read it, and I approved it after my detective filed it and sent it to me.
And let me ask you this generally, would you approve a report if it was not, to your knowledge, a good, correct report written by other officers?
No,
You would not, is
I
it?
would not. That's
Okay.
correct.
All right. Can you go ahead and just tell us a little bit more about when you, now that you've refreshed your memory with this report, what you recall being told about this incident, or if did it stand out to you at all?
To be honest, at the time, it really didn't. Upon looking at it now, I recall I didn't have a lot of direct involvement in it. I remember being advised by my superior officer at the time to assign a detective to investigate the incident because they had received a report that an individual who worked for animal control was possibly impersonating an officer. That was all the information I had at the time. I assigned Detective Hoffman to look into the case, and she returned several days later. She briefed me verbally, basically with the exact same content of this report, and I told her just to go ahead and write a report, and that would conclude our involvement.
Okay. Now, it's my understanding, to your knowledge, has there been any criminal activity involving this report?
No, none to my knowledge.
And could you talk to us a little bit, based on your training and experience, how the district attorney's office would prosecute a impersonating an officer type case from your perspective?
From my perspective, in order to actually charge somebody with impersonating an officer, they have to actually have stated that they were a police officer and attempted to gain some sort of either privilege because of that or actually enforce a law that they are obviously not qualified to do so.
So, in your training and experience, if somebody sort of intimates they're an officer but then doesn't follow through, would that be enough to charge someone criminally?
No.
And is that your understanding as to why this was never charged criminally?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. No other questions?
Cross?
Yes, sir. Officer Sullivan, on that same tab, if you will turn to page 2. Yeah, second page.
Okay.
In the synopsis, what does the synopsis basically say regarding this report?
That detectives were assigned to investigate the possibility that Rito Flores impersonated a police officer at Presbyterian Hospital. And the investigation showed that Rito Flores did not attempt to exercise the function of a police officer or deceive another person by showing false credentials to prove he was a police officer.
Okay, and if you will then turn to the next page. And on the third paragraph, it identifies that Mr. Flores showed, I believe it's Mr. Milligan, an animal control officer identification card.
That's what it states as.
Was that statement made because Mr. Milligan made that statement?
I don't know. Reading the report, that's the way it infers.
Okay. And if you'll go now to the next paragraph, second line, about the middle of the second line, well, actually, there's an answer for it, but it says, when I asked Milligan if he felt Flores was trying to get something, prescription medication, by giving an affirmative answer, when asked if he was an APD officer, Mr. Milligan stated he did not believe so.
That's what it says, yes.
So, according to Mr. Mulligan, Mr. Flores was not there to try to get any prescription medication, correct?
According to this report, yes.
Okay. And if the third line, middle, beginning of the sentence, it says Mr. Mulligan stated he did not feel the need to report the behavior to APD or file any type of report. To your knowledge, did Mr. Milligan feel threatened by Mr. Flores?
I wouldn't have any knowledge of that. I never spoke with Mr. Milligan.
Is that anywhere in the report that he felt threatened?
Nothing like that stated in the report.
Okay, sir. And now if you go to the next paragraph, there's basically a conclusion that there's not any probable cause present to pursue criminal charges for impersonating a police officer. Is that because there was simply no evidence to confirm that fact?
That would be correct. That's what I would infer from reading this report, yes.
Okay, and the next paragraph, second line, second sentence, when Officer Flores was asked whether he stated he was APD, Mr. Flores denied the allegation, correct?
That's what it says.
Okay, sir. And you had approved this statement, if you look at the last page at the bottom left.
Okay. Are you asking if that's?
Yes, sir. Is that your approving officer?
Yes,
Is
that's my
you,
name.
Mr.
That's my approval on this report, yes.
Okay, so this is the official report of APD?
Yes, it is.
Okay, sir. Did anything happen or as a result of this report on APD's part?
This concluded our investigation into this.
Okay, sir. No further questions. Thank you.
Redirect?
Yes, please. Lieutenant Sullivan, in your training and experience, you handled a lot of cases of people possibly impersonating police officers.
It's rare.
It's rare.
Yes.
That is your testimony. Do you think that when, in your training and experience, if somebody thought someone was impersonating a police officer, that would be noteworthy?
Yes, I do feel it would be noteworthy.
Have you ever had a situation before where you've been involved in an investigation where, it says here on page 2 of your report, or the report that you approved, Milligan stated he did not believe that he was trying to get prescription medication, but was trying to boost his status, and it was more of an ego issue. Does that concern you based upon your experience as a law enforcement officer?
Well, that would concern me, yes.
Nothing further, thank you.
Anything further, Rocky?
No, sir. No further questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here today. You're excused. Thank you very much. Next person?
Oh, you can just leave that on the table, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, the city is going to call Albert Marquez.
Morning. Morning.
Right there, picture.
Just the city lawyer on this side. Morning.
Good morning. Raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
Okay. State your name for the record.
Albert Marquez.
Go ahead.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Marquez, how are you?
Morning.
Is it okay if I call you Albert?
Yes.
All right. Albert, have you testified in any hearing like this before?
Yes.
Are you feeling good to testify today?
Yes.
All right. Do you know why we're here today generally?
Yes, because of Rito Flores.
All right. Can you go ahead and tell us how you know Mr. Flores and how long you've known him roughly?
I've known Rito Flores for, let's say, probably about 7 years, 8 years.
Okay.
He worked as an animal control officer. He worked under my command.
All right, and let's talk a little bit more about your experience with animal control, animal welfare with the city. How long did you work for the city?
I've worked with the city for approximately 33 years, and with animal control, I did 9 years with animal control.
Okay. So you said 33 years?
Correct.
Wow, that's a long time. Okay. I'm going to have you go ahead and in the binder that's in front of you, if you could open it, please.
Okay.
And I'm going to have you turn to tab 1 in this binder, please. I'm going to have you just look over this document and then tell us what you can about what you know about it.
Okay, I do recall issuing this notice of investigation. And basically, the reason why it was issued was we had received a complaint from an individual Apparently, he went to Presbyterian, I guess, and was trying to get a prescription from one of the doctors. And based on my understanding is that he told him that he worked for the police department and he needed some medication so that he could get back to work as soon as possible.
Okay. So this notice of investigation, does this appear to be a correct copy of what was you initially issued? I know we're going back a few years here. But
It is.
okay. I'm going to have you go ahead, please, and turn to tab number 4 in the binder, please. And do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Okay.
I issued this to
You did issue this
Rita
document?
Flores, yes.
Okay. Does this appear, let's see, we've got 1, 2, 3 pages. Does this appear to be a correct copy of the notice that you issued?
Yes.
All right. And then I'm going to have you also just turn to tab 5 here in the binder as well. Do you recognize this document?
I do. I did issue this to
All right.
Rita.
Sorry, Albert, I'm using you for a little bit of sort of housekeeping here, just to identify
That's
some
fine.
documents that we've already agreed upon. Thank you. And if you could turn to tab 7, please, as well. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
All
I
right.
issued it to Rita Flores.
Now, this one says, can you read the subject line to us, please?
This is a notice of predetermination hearing, revised date of hearing received.
Do you recall why the hearing date was revised, or sort of what the purpose was of this document?
I don't.
Can you tell us generally why a hearing date, or why someone would get a notice that their hearing date's been revised?
It's possibly that he wants it changed for a certain reason. Maybe he can't make it, or maybe his representative can't make it, so he requests that we reschedule. So
Okay.
when they reschedule, then we issue this revised date.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to have you turn to tab 8 in the binder, please.
Okay, I did issue this
And
as
you
well.
did issue this as
Yes.
well? Okay, thank you. And how about tab 9, please?
Okay, I do remember this.
Okay, can you tell us, now that you've, again, I know we're going back 4.5 years here, but now that you've refreshed your memory, can you tell us a little bit about what happened with this situation, please?
I believe, if I recall correctly, Rita Flores, I think we were in the hearing, and I think he talked to Rocky Gutierrez, and he told him not to go through with it. So,
Can you tell us a little bit more about what you mean by that, just to be clear?
I think he just told him don't.
Who's he? I'm gonna pick at you a little bit
He's
here.
his union representative.
No, but when you say he told who?
Rita Flores.
Okay.
Talked to Rocky Gutierrez.
Okay, thank you. And said,
He told him something like to the effect, is don't go through the hearing. You don't have to be there. Something to that effect.
so your testimony is that you recall this conversation?
Some of it. It's been a while back. It's been probably 5-6 years.
Okay. So, why did you issue this notice? It may seem elementary, but can you tell us why you issued this notice?
Let me just read this so I can.
Absolutely, take your
refresh my
time.
guess he wanted him to waive his rights until Rocky could be here for the hearing. Because Rocky at that time wasn't at the hearing.
Okay. And so, based upon that,
We rescheduled it
thank you.
based on, I believe it was Rocky's request.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit more about your interactions with Mr. Flores over the years, please?
Actually, we had a pretty good relationship. You know, we got along pretty good. One of the things that I did notice is that he was accident prone. He was always using up a lot of time due to injuries.
When you say a lot of time, can you tell us a little bit more about what you mean by that, please?
At one point, he hurt his knuckle on his, I believe it was his right hand, and he used up, I think, it was a total of 960 hours. And
60 hours of what? Again,
960 hours of injury time.
okay.
They get 900, I think it was 960 hours is what they get for an injury.
Mhm.
It was brought to my attention later on throughout the times, and this is pretty much hearsay, that he was going to,
I'm going to object based on his statement, it's hearsay.
And I'm going to ask that it be allowed because the rules of evidence do not strictly apply in these hearings, and I believe that.
You may respond.
okay. It was brought to my attention that he was pretty much close to running out of his 960 hours. And they told me he was gonna have to come back, and he said, there's no way I can come back, it's just, my hand is really injured pretty bad, and I'm not gonna be able to make it back to work. And they said, well, if you don't, and he was right almost at 960 hours, I think he was like 11 hours short. After the 960 hours, once you run out of that time, they put you in probably Department 98. At that point, he said, well, there's no way I can come back to work. And he said, well, you're going to be put in Department 98. And then all of a sudden, he gets a miraculous recovery, and he's perfectly fine, and he can come back to work.
Can you tell us for the record what Department 98 is, please?
Actually, they run out of the time, and they can't come back to work, so they put them off on kind of a layoff status until later on.
Okay.
You know, once they heal, whatever, they can find another job from in another department.
I'm going to have you turn to tab 23, please, in the binder.
Okay.
I'm going to have you look over this document and tell us if you recognize this document, please.
I do. This is basically a letter that I issued to Rito Flores, basically letting him know that he was almost up to his 56 hours of sick leave usage. That he had 54 hours used, and after 56 hours, and they're in violation of their contract.
Okay.
So it was just a letter of caution letting him know that he was getting close to.
So this was not discipline, is that correct?
No, it's not discipline.
Objection. We're testifying to evidence that hasn't been admitted, and once that happens, I will object on relevancy. It has nothing to do with the events that occurred on July 22nd, 2010.
At this time, the city is going to move for the admission of city's exhibit number 23. I do believe it is relevant. It goes to Mr. Marquez's work history, which is a relevant factor in disciplinary decisions that the city makes subsequent to lateral hearings.
Overruled, it's admitted. Go ahead.
So, Mr. Marquez, can you, we're still on tab 23, please. If you can go ahead and tell us, so is this a correct, as far as you can tell, is this a correct copy of a document? Is that?
Yes.
Thank you. And what is the date on this, please?
The date of this was July 6th, 2006.
Now, the incident that you testified to a little earlier about the poet's miraculous recovery, was that this back in 2006, or was that a different time period?
This was a different time period. This was, gonna say maybe 2008. At that time, I wasn't, let me see, I wasn't working for the animal welfare. It was brought to my attention by another individual.
Okay. So you testified before that you thought you got along pretty well with Mr. Flores generally, is that correct?
Yes, yes.
Is there any reason that you would not testify truthfully about your interactions with Mr. Flores?
No, I don't want to jeopardize my integrity too.
Okay. Thank you. No further questions.
Cross.
Mr. Marquez, turn to exhibit, let me make sure I got it on here. Exhibit 4.
Okay.
Is this the first notice of predetermination hearing that was issued to Mr. Flores?
You know what, I don't recall, because it's been several years back. I don't know if this was the first one or which one it was, but
Okay. Let me ask you to turn to exhibit 1. Based on the city's allegation, the alleged events occurred on July 22nd, 2010. Why did it take so long to issue Mr. Flores a notice of investigation all the way to September 3rd, 2010?
that I don't know. I don't recall. Let me see. Usually what I do is once I find out the violation, I issue the letter within 10 days. I don't know what happened here.
Okay.
I don't recall.
And when you issued Mr. Flores a notice of investigation, did you actually conduct an investigation?
I don't recall if I did the investigation or not.
Okay. Isn't it true that the city relied on APD's report regarding the conclusion of the investigation?
I know there was a report by APD, but I don't, like I said, I don't know who did the investigation.
Okay. Do you know if anyone from the city of Albuquerque spoke to Mr. Flores besides APD?
I don't recall. That's been several years back. I don't remember. I'm sure somebody did the investigation. I don't know.
You issued, and we looked at Exhibit 4. Again, we looked, or you issued Mr. Flores the notice of predetermination hearing.
Yes.
And you also issued him, if you look at Exhibit 5, discovery.
Yes.
Okay. Isn't it true that there was no internal investigation report done by the city of Albuquerque?
That I don't know.
Yep.
Like I said, I don't know.
Okay. If there was one, wouldn't that have had to have been submitted over to Mr. Flores?
If there was an investigation, yes.
Okay. And according to this discovery report, the discovery issued to me is a copy of the investigation conducted by APD.
Okay. Must have been the police report.
Okay, so that would have been the only report of the investigation conclusion
I would
issued by the
assume. I would
city?
assume.
Okay. You stated that there was some information that, well, when you testified as to the predetermination hearings, it's because there was some information that Mr. Flores was trying to get prescriptions. You just testified to that.
Yes, that was my understanding, that he was
You
trying to get a
understand?
prescription from.
Okay, and where in any of this discovery that you issued to Mr. Flores does it state that he was trying to get prescriptions?
might have been from the police report.
Go ahead and let's look at the police report. Exhibit 2. And I'm going to ask you to turn to page 3.
Police report?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So prior to conducting the predetermination hearing, did you have opportunity to review the police report?
I'm sure I did.
Okay. Now, if you look at page 3, and there are 4 paragraphs, the 4th paragraph, Mr. Milligan was asked by APD if Mr. Flores was trying to get something, and in parentheses, prescription medication, by giving an affirmative answer when he was asked if he was with APD. And Milligan stated he did not believe so. So isn't it true that only Mr. Milligan would know whether Mr. Flores was trying to get prescription medication?
I would assume, but when it was brought to my attention, and I don't recall who brought it to my attention.
No, that's fine, I'm not, okay. So, but my question is, the only person that would know would be Mr. Milligan, correct?
Yeah, but he ended up contacting somebody from
Okay.
the department.
I understood. And Mr. Milligan stated, no, he didn't believe he was trying to get prescription medication, correct? According to the police report? We just read it, 4th paragraph.
Yeah,
Is that correct?
I'm reading it right now.
Okay.
It says here that he was trying to get something, a prescription medication.
Well, the question was asked. but
Objection
Milligan-
asked and answered.
Okay, are you reading the 2nd line where Milligan stated he did not believe so?
Yes,
So according to Mr. Milligan's statement, he did not believe Mr. Flores was trying to obtain prescription medications, correct?
yes, but from what I understand, I don't think
Okay,
Mr. Milligan.
that's fine, sir, thank you. And just real quick, if you had referred to Exhibit 9, that there was a conversation between Mr. Flores and myself, and I had advised Mr. Flores not to appear at a predetermination hearing. You were asked by counsel if you were privy to that conversation. Were you in a conversation between Mr. Flores and I, where I told Mr. Flores not to appear at a predetermination hearing?
No, but what happened is, I think he had talked to you, and then Rito was inside the hearing, when we were inside the hearing room, or in the office. He said, you know, I was advised by my union representative not to say anything.
Okay, so it wasn't not to appear, but not to say anything until when? Until representation
Until he got representation.
was present? Okay, thank you, sir. Let me ask you to turn to Exhibit 12. Do you recognize this document?
I do.
What is this document?
This is a notice of a final action.
And why was Mr. Flores issued a notice of final action on October 26, 2010?
Well, I received this from my director. Well, actually, you would probably been with Frina, and I was told to issue it to Officer Flores.
Okay. And what was the discipline for this final action?
30-day suspension.
And what day was this
Without
final?
pay.
What day was this final action issued?
It was issued on the 29th of October, 2010.
Okay. And if you'll turn to page 1 again, it says under description of allegations, charge number 1. And what date did the alleged allegations occur?
And you said what exhibit?
We're still on 12.
Oh, 12, okay.
Yes, sir.
I thought you said it. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Okay, run that by me again, I'm sorry.
Okay, sir. On page 1,
Okay,
under description of allegations, charge number 1
okay.
and charge number 2. What is the date of the alleged allegation?
August 16th,
What's the year?
2010.
Okay. Is that after the July 22nd, 2010 incident, alleged incident with Presbyterian?
Let's see, yeah, it's August. It was in July.
Okay. Now, if you'll turn to Exhibit 11. And you recognize this document?
I do.
What is this document?
It's another notice of final action.
Regarding,
Mr. Flores.
if you look at description and allegation and background, it's for, what is this for the July 22nd, 2010 alleged incident that we're referring to today?
Yes.
Okay. Now, according to this final action, if you'll turn to page 3. And under prior discipline, it says review of your personnel file indicates the following infractions. The first one is a 30-day suspension without pay issued on October 26, 2010.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the final action that we're referring to under Exhibit 12?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you, what is the purpose of progressive discipline?
To try to get the employee to correct his issues
Okay.
before it escalates to another level.
And when you are doing a review of past disciplinary actions, do you take into consideration past disciplinary action for further discipline?
What I do is I submit all my information, my documents, investigation, all my predetermination letters over to the director, and then HR, between the HR director and the director, they make the decision on what action they're going to take. I don't have no authority on any action that I'm going to be pursuing on the individual.
Okay. Would you agree, according to the final action for the alleged July 22nd, 2010 incident, that they used a 30-day suspension for discipline of termination?
I'm going to object at this time. Ms. Bruin is going to be testifying at this hearing, and I think these questions are much better directed to Ms. Bruin. Mr. Marquez has already testified that he does not make disciplinary decisions.
Sustained.
Okay, sir, no further questions.
Redirect.
Nothing further from the city.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, have a good day. Thank you. Have a good day, too, sir. Thank you. Okay, another witness?
Yes, unless anybody's needing a break, I'm ready to call on next witness. Not sure.
Who's the next witness?
It's Rebecca Wardlaw.
Anybody need a break?
You okay?
Need a break, anybody?
You okay? We're okay, sir.
I just wanted to throw it out there. Okay, thank
That's all
you.
right.